So in this video today, we're going to go over the volume of prisms and cylinders. Obviously, our objective is to find the volume of prisms and cylinders. So before we do that, we're going to talk about what volume means. Volume of a figure, it measures how much space it takes up. Volume is a measure of capacity. So like when we talk about how much milk is in a milk container, that kind of stuff, okay? So before we do that, though, we want to talk about the area. So let's do a little quick review of area. Hopefully you guys remember that when you have a square, you're going to multiply a side by a side, right? Okay, so you're going to do a side times a side, and isn't that side squared? So the area of a squared in this case is going to be 5. All the sides are the same, right? Because it's a square. So this is going to be 5 squared, so the area is going to be 25. And this time it'll be feet squared, because if you multiply feet times feet, you get feet squared as well. Here is base times height. So we're going to do base, whoops, got my eraser there. It's equal to base times height. This is what's on the formula sheet, okay? So the base would be 6 and the height would be 4. So we're going to do 6 times 4, and that's 24. And this time it's centimeters squared. Now the formula for the area of a triangle is also on the formula sheet, and it's on the bottom left. And this is the area is equal to 1/2 base times height, okay? And so here again, when we do base times height, we're going to do 1/2 of our base, which is this, 5.5, times our height, which is this. This is our height, this is our base, okay? That's going to be 16.5. And again, I just put this in the calculator, millimeters squared. Okay, then you also have the formula for the area of a circle on your formula sheet, and it's again on the bottom left. And this one is area is equal to pi r squared. We do have r up here, so this is going to be pi times 12 squared. So this is either going to be 144 pi centimeters squared, or we can multiply that by pi, and that would be our approximate answer if you remember from last week. So this is going to be 452.39 centimeters squared. All right, now we're going to talk about the volume of a prism. So basically the volume of a prism is length times width times height, okay? And then the volume of a cube, because all of the edges or the sides of the cube are the same length, we're going to do side times side times side. So that's going to be side squared, or cubed, sorry. Okay, so we're going to do both of these right now. So let's go ahead and look at this one. So again, our volume is equal to length times width times height. And this one is not on your formula sheet. So this is the one you're going to have to remember. Many of the others, and the prism and the cube are the ones you're going to have to remember. The rest of them are on the formula sheet, okay? So volume here is our length is 9, our width is 4, and our height is 6. So we're just going to multiply all three of those numbers by each other, and when we do that, we get 216. And again, this is centimeters cubed, because we're doing centimeters times centimeters times centimeters, okay? All right, pause the video. Let's see if you guys can do this. You try number 2. Here again, volume is equal to length times width times height. So we've got 12 times 4 times 8. That's going to give us 384 feet cubed again. Okay. All right, now we have finding the volume of a cube, and it only gives us one length. But remember, if we're doing a cube, we're going to cube our side, right? So we've got our side length of 8, so we're just going to do 8 cubed, and that's going to be equal to 512. And again, that's going to be feet cubed. In my opinion, cubes are easy because you cube it. So pause the video again, do this next one, and then come back to me when you're done. So here again, sorry, I didn't mean to say area. That was volume, y'all, over there. Sorry. That should have been volume, not area. So this one should be volume. Losing my mind, y'all. Okay. Volume is equal to, again, our side length cubed, right? So that's going to be 15 to the third power. And hopefully you guys all know how to do that in your calculator by now. If not, you're looking for the caret symbol over on the right, okay? And that's how you're going to take that to the third power. So when you do that, you get 3,375. And again, this is inches cubed. So that is prisms, guys. And when we're talking about prisms, we're either talking about cubes or rectangular prisms, right? Okay, so then we're going to talk about cylinders. Okay, so cylinders, a little bit different. We're going to do base times height, and know that the base of a cylinder is a circle, right? So you see this part of the formula right there, pi r squared. That is the base because it's a circle, okay? So it says find the volume of each cylinder, give exact answer, and decimal rounded to 2 decimal places, okay? So the first thing I noticed with this one is we don't have the radius. We have the diameter. So the diameter is equal to 12, thus the radius is half of that, right? So the radius is going to be 6, and that's one of those things you need to look out for, because that's one of the things that you would probably miss if you're not being detail-oriented, okay? So then we have that our height is equal to 10. So we have our radius is 6 and our height is equal to 10. So when we're looking at our volume here, we're going to find the volume of our base first. So that's going to be pi times 6 squared times our height, which is 10. Okay. So first we're going to leave pi out of our answer, or we're going to put pi, the symbol pi. So this is going to be 36 times 10. So that's going to be 360 pi. And that's, again, going to be feet cubed. Okay. So when we multiply the 360 by pi, again, this is our approximate answer, right? So we're going to get 1,130 feet cubed. All right, pause the video, do the next one, and come back to me when you're done. So this one's a little easier because our radius is 3 and our height is 5, right? So once again, we're going to put it in our formula for our volume, and that's going to be pi times 3 squared, that's our radius, and then times 5. So that's going to be 9 times 5, so our volume is going to be 45 pi, and this time it's meters cubed. Then we're going to give our approximate answer by multiplying 45 times pi, and when I did that, I got 141.37, and again, that's meters cubed. So now flip your paper over, and we're going to go to the back. And hopefully, let me extend this page a little bit so I can move a little. So this one says find the volume in terms of pi. So a cylinder with a base area. So base area, remember, that is our, so volume is equal to base times height, right? So that means our base is going to be 121 pi, okay? And then it says a height that's equal to twice the radius. So our base is equal to 121 pi, right? And we know that that's equal to pi r squared. Well, it's telling us that the height is equal to twice the radius, right? So we got to find the radius to find the height. So we're going to set this equation equal to 121 pi, noticing that pi is going to cancel out on both sides, and then we're going to take the square root of the r, and the square root of 121 is 11. So now we can find our height, right? So it says the height is equal to twice the radius. So that's going to be 2 times 11. So our height's going to be 22. So now we have what we need to actually do the formula, right? We still have our base, and we can multiply that times our height. So volume is going to be equal to 121 pi times the 22. Okay, this one says give the volume in terms of pi, so we can actually just multiply the 121 times the 22 to get our volume. So here the volume is going to be 2,662 pi, and again, it's going to be centimeters cubed. So same process with the one with the U-try on the right. So pause the video. Let me give you a little insight. It says that the height is 3 centimeters more than the radius, okay? So what does that mean, 3 centimeters more? It means whatever you get for the radius, you're going to add 3 to it to get your height, right? That's what you're going to do, okay? So that means you're going to have to find your radius. Pause the video. Go ahead and try this one. Come back to me when you're done. All right, this one says, again, we have a base area of, so our base is equal to 25 pi, and that's equal to pi r squared. Once again, notice that our pi's cancel out. We're going to take the square root of both sides, so r is going to be equal to 5. Then once up here, we're going to put our 5 up there. So 5 plus 3 is our height, so our height's going to be equal to 8. Now we can do base times height, right? So our volume is equal to 25 pi times the 8. And that's going to give us our volume is equal to 200 pi. And this is going to be centimeters cubed. All right, so on this next one, next part, it says changing dimensions. When measurements are changed in a figure, it affects the perimeter or circumference, the area, and the volume, okay? So since perimeter has an exponent of 1, the change is multiplied. So it would just be times, so let's just say it doubled, okay? So if we said it doubled, then this would be times 2, right? And then since the area is an exponent of 2, the change is squared. So that would be 2 to the second, right? So that would be 4. Or you take it to the second power, whatever it is, okay? So in this case, let's go back. If we said that this was x, we're going to square that, right? And then since the volume has an exponent of 3, this is going to be x to the third, right? Okay? So that's what you need to keep in mind. This is going to be multiplied. So we're just going to go 2 times whatever it was, right? 2x. The next one's going to be x squared. The third one is going to be x cubed. And this is just a one-dimensional distance around something. Area is two-dimensional, right? So it's like a height and a width, whereas volume is height, width, and length, okay? So then this first one says, if the radius and height of a cylinder are doubled, describe the effect on the volume. So we're going to talk this through. So we got a cylinder, right? So that's pi r squared h, right? Okay. So if we were to do this and we were to double both the height and the radius, okay, so that means that we're going to do 2, this would still be pi, 2r, and this would be squared, right? And then 2h, we're doubling both, right? So that's going to be pi 2 squared. We're going to apply this to both, right? So that's going to be 4, and then r squared, and then multiply that again by another 2h. Notice these two can be multiplied. So that's going to be 8 pi r squared h. So how much bigger did it get? It got 8 times bigger. Now I'm going to give you a shortcut for this, all right? So if it said it doubled, then we just take that 2 and we take it to the third power, and that is the same thing, right? Isn't that 8? So just wanted you guys to see how this works, okay? Dimensions of a rectangular prism are reduced by 3/5, okay? So describe the change on the volume. So again, rectangular prism is a 3-dimensional object, so we're going to take the 3/5 and we're going to cube it, okay? Because that's our change. So we're going to take 3 to the third over 5 to the third, and you can do that in your calculator. That's going to be, sorry, not 9. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. So this is 27, and 5 times 5 is 25, times another 5 is 125. So it would have got 27 over 125 smaller. So if you end up with a fraction, it's definitely getting smaller, okay? All right, let's see if you guys can do these 2 U-tries right here, and then come back to me when you're done. If our circle is doubled, what is the effect on its change on its area? Notice that's area this time. The 2 prior were volume. Y'all see this? Volume, volume. So that's why we're taking it to the third power. This time it's area, okay? So that means we're going to take it to the second power. So it says the radius is doubled, right? So that would be 2 times that, and if we squared that, then what is that? That's going to be 2 to the second, and that would be 4 times bigger, right? So then the last one is, again, volume, and it says dimensions of a cylinder multiplied by 1/2. So this is what we're going to cube, okay? So we're going to cube the 1. 1 times 1 times 1 is 1, obviously. And then we got 2 times 2 is 4, times another 2 is 8. So this is going to be 1/8 the size, so it's going to be 1/8 smaller. It's going to reduce it, right?